break down. Steady breaking me on down. Break down. Steady breaking me on down. La, 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 la. Call yesterday to basically say I don't care about you, but you won't get the job. Break down. La, 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 la. That's it. And if you watched my video yesterday, which I know two of you did. I know two of you did, and I think I can basically guess who the two are that did. I have a lovely subscriber whose name is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to try because we're all ethnic people. People with different ethnicities are tired of people being like, oh, what's your name? So her name is, I'm going to do it like American syllables, Madhuvanti. And she's like my most loyal subby. She's like my ride or die subby. She comments and watches like every single thing. And then my other ride or die subby, shout out to her, is Quinn Paris. Girl, you're probably like, no, it's not Quinn. Quinn? Girl. Quinn Perrin Nugent. I know Nugent because I knew a boy growing up whose name was Sean Nugent. So I know that one. Thank you for your patience with me butchering your name. And thank you for being great, loyal, amazing subscribers. I love you so much. You make it so worthwhile to share things on YouTube. Honestly. Like it's like a community. Like you guys are making it a community by like commenting and just being supportive and being chatty. I just want to chat. Like I want to do this casually. Like I just want to express myself on here. And I don't always want I want to share positive things, but sometimes you have to break down. And I wanted to sing that song as the intro as well because we're talking about Mariah Carey. That's her song Breakdown featuring Bone Thugs and Harmony. Go listen to it. It's really good. If you are clicking on this though, I think you're a Mariah fan because I've already had a lot of Mariah fans watch my other part 1 video where I was like, this is just a positive rant. This is going to be a positive rant and an angry rant. We all have emotional problems. We have such a different perspective on mental health in 2020 than they did in the early 2000s when part 2 takes place. So the meaning of Mariah Carey part 2. The quick overview, we're going to talk about her marriage to Tommy Mottola, or Tony Sony, as Derek Jeter likes to say. We're going to talk about the brief affair with Derek Jeter. Not literally an affair on her marriage, but kinda. Friendship with the Brat. Building the Dream House, aka the Sing Sing Jail, aka the Storybook Mansion. And we're just going to talk about... Oh, and she met Will Smith. Very cute. Anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Tommy Mottola very briefly. Tommy Mottola is a horrible human being. Let's just put it out there. Let's just put it on Front Street. He's abusive and terrible. And I feel like people in the 90s just were dismissive of Mariah Carey's relationship with him, and they're like, oh, she was angling to get the producer. She slept her way to the top. She wanted to get with him for clout and money and to get on the label. Anyway, so she was with Tommy Mottola. She was really young. She's coming out of a traumatic childhood, okay? Where she had moved 13 times. I was in a military family. We moved like 4 times, and I feel like I'm not over it. I didn't like that. So when she moved 13 times, I can't imagine it, okay? Like, moving 13 times, I'm gonna move on. And then her parents are divorced. Her older siblings are older than her, and she doesn't get along with them, and they have their own relationship struggles. That's a whole separate situation. But this whole thing, so she's young. So she's like 19 or 20. and she's getting married to, like, hold on, let me adjust. She's getting married to, like, 40-year-old Tommy Mottola. And people are like, oh, she's a gold digger, she's this, she's that. And they didn't take it serious. They didn't. Nowadays, we have the language to say, and it's commonly pointed out, like, oh, this seems to be an imbalanced power dynamic. Back then, they didn't say that. They said, oh, she's a little gold digger. She's trying to get on the label. She divorced him, blah, blah, blah. First of all, she paid half for building their house, their gigantic, glorious mansion. It's beautiful, but it's also awful. Like, it's awful because he trapped her in it. It's awful because he had security cameras and listening devices. And in your house, you should have security. Your security cameras, sis, should be facing outward. Okay? You shouldn't be using security cameras inside the house, in the halls of your home. Like, they should be facing outward, and maybe in, like, the ground level in the entrance of the main hallway. That's where you should have security cameras, not in rooms around the house and listening devices, because oftentimes you don't even need audio. Like, if you have a crime committed, you don't need audio. You only need video. Think about how many silent security films, if you like true crime, imagine how many silent video clips that you've seen. We don't need audio. So the listening device is sus because he's abusive. He's emotionally abusive. And I feel like people throw a lot of shade, and you're probably like, this is a tangent, but people throw a lot of shade at, like, Lifetime movies. But Lifetime movies, I feel like it really had a positive impact on our culture, because they started putting out things like, yeah, sis, this is called abuse. This is an abusive relationship. This is a movie about an abusive spouse, etc. So it's, you know, so they opened that up, and I feel like at the time people didn't take abuse as seriously as they do now. And if it was an emotional abuse, and she never is claiming that he put hands on her, which I don't want to get into spoilers. He never, like, swung back and smacked her. That's all I'm going to say. Did he ever grab her or come towards her in a way that was inappropriate? She doesn't mention that, and I'm going to let you read it and get the tea on that. And it's not tea. It's a serious memory for her. And it's trauma. And it's a trauma after she just came out of a childhood where she was in constant flux and constantly looking for a sense of home and safety. So for her to have this relationship with Tommy Mottola, it was really negative. It was really negative, and just people didn't understand it. So that's Tommy Mottola. That's Tony Sony. F him. He's a horrible person. He's abusive, controlling. And then after she leaves the relationship, he is vindictive towards her and sabotages Glitter. Girl, and if you're a stan, you've heard of Justice for Glitter. I'm not going to touch on Justice for Glitter. Maybe I'll touch on that in a whole separate video. But I'm just going to say, and it's not just Mariah and Mariah stans. There was a song that was supposed to be on the Glitter soundtrack. Tommy Mottola gave the sample from the song to J-Lo, someone she doesn't know. So she doesn't mention J-Lo a lot. Like, she doesn't have a vendetta against J-Lo. I think that Tommy Mottola destroyed what could have been a casual acquaintance, a casual friendship from Mariah Carey. Because Tommy picked up J-Lo, right? And, like, started to work with her. People kind of viewed it as, like, oh, it's like a petty side-eye thing. I think it was really hard for her to get over that relationship with Tommy Mottola. And she was still dealing with childhood trauma. She was still dealing with trauma and issues with her relationship with her family behind the scenes, which she, you know, is going to mention more. Anyway. So when he gets into business with J-Lo, that's why she has this resentment towards J-Lo, okay? He destroyed what could have been just whether they would have really liked each other, yes or no. But like maybe they would have been casual friends. But she would have never had the kind of dismissive, kind of cold, standoffish vibe towards J-Lo if Tommy Mottola hadn't picked her up and really used J-Lo to sabotage her. I would love for her to them to get to, like, listen, of course, who doesn't like J-Lo? If you're a Mariah fan and you're like, be loyal, we're supposed to hate J-Lo, that's your thing. That's not really my thing. But I just feel like, I feel sad. I want them to kind of move past it. But also, we don't know everything that happens behind the scenes. We don't know what we've heard. Like, maybe Mariah heard her say something unflattering about her and Tommy Mottola or something. Maybe, but it comes from a sense of trauma. And I think that it's played in the press as petty diva behavior. But really, it's based off of, this is the girl that started working with my abusive ex-husband. Why would I like her? So it's like, oh, she's kind of justified in not liking J-Lo. I mean, she's, at least at first. I don't know about nowadays. I don't know what else went on behind the scenes, etc. She doesn't get deep into it. But like, let's move on from Tommy Mottola / Tony Sony, and let's talk about, this is like, Mariah Carey is like a romance novelist. Like, she's like so romantic. This is like the most romantic part of the book so far, where she kind of has a very brief kind of fling with Derek Jeter. And I was so into it. Let me just tell you, I don't even want to spoil it for you. I don't even want to spoil. I have like the songs that he inspired and their relationship inspired written down here. Maybe we can talk about a spoiler video, but like, I don't even want to spoil it. Like, I feel like I spoiled a lot in the first, excuse me, I knocked the camera. I feel like I spoiled a lot in the first video, and I don't want to spoil too much. I think I spoiled, like, there's a lot. Like the Tommy Mottola thing, you can Google that. But the Derek Jeter part, I loved it. This section, she details her relationship to Derek Jeter and how they met and how she related to him because he's also biracial, which I didn't know. And I didn't know anything about Derek Jeter. Let's spill tea. When she said Derek Jeter, who was I thinking of? I was thinking of A-Rod. Isn't that hilarious? I literally was thinking of like A-Rod, like the face that I pictured. When I looked at him, I'm like, he looks white. I'm so sorry, Mariah. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful to mixed race people. I said the same thing about Meghan Markle. The first time I found out that Meghan Markle was mixed race, I was like, she looks white. Like when she has her natural hair, she looks more mixed, but she looks white. And I think, this whole race, it's complicated, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's just, anyway. So she like has a thing with him. It's so good. Like, if you're gonna like get it from the library, if you're gonna buy it, if you're gonna listen to it, this was one of my favorite parts. I was like, ooh, I was like getting like little butterflies and stuff. You give me butterflies. Okay, anyway, sorry, no more singing. I said I was gonna say the songs. I'm not even gonna tell you the songs that Derek Jeter inspires, because that was something that was fun for me to learn as well. And maybe if you were a big like into like celeb stuff, but I was literally a baby when this stuff was going on. I was literally like a little girl in the 90s. I was born in 1993, so I was like, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. It was really cute. Her relationship with Derek Jeter, even though it wasn't a long one, was really, really like meaningful and romantic and sweet. I was like, ooh, I love this. It's like, this is like, real life romance stories are so much better than romance novels. I swear to God. I have never really read that many good like relationships in books. Not even like romance novels, because I don't read the actual romance genre, but like relationships in books. This was one for the record books. Okay, Tony Sony. Oh, and Derek Jeter calls Tommy Mottola Tony Sony. He calls him Tony Sony. I think that's funny. She talks in great detail about recording her first albums. She talks in great detail about Hero and how that came to be. Derek Jeter. Oh, she meets Will Smith. And it's a cute aside, but at this point in the story, she had just mentioned in like a chapter before, she was like, I was still a virgin. I had no real relationships with men, but I was on tour and I was meeting a lot of different people. And she says she met Will Smith. And I was like, did she lose her virginity to Will Smith? No, stop. But she, I was like, when it was, because she had just, if you listen to it or you read the book, she had just like a chapter ago, maybe 2 chapters ago, pointedly said she was a virgin, and then enter Will Smith into scene 1. You know, I'm like, no, that's not what happened. Apparently they were good pals. They took a picture together. I've seen that picture on social media before this book even came out. Like a lot of these throwback photos, I've seen a lot of throwback photos. Like her in her wedding dress, the iconic wedding dress. She's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. And that's it. That's the meaning of Mariah Carey. Oh, is this part 2 or part 3? Because I started listening to part 3 already. I'm getting a call. I'm ignoring it. The phone calls only bring bad news. For me, at least. Like I'm saying, if you didn't see my video from yesterday, go watch it. If you want to know what I keep referencing, because I'm probably going to reference it a couple times. But anyway, it was so good. The book is so good. The book is good. I still highly recommend. Part 2 is incredible. Part 1 is incredible. Part 3 is about to slay me. I think I'm just going to make a separate video about what... Well, now I want to go back. Because I want to... Before I end this video, I do want to mention the way the press made it seem like she had this meltdown and breakdown. And that's why I started this video with break down. Steady breaking me on down. Because that's such a good song, for one thing. I had a breakdown yesterday. But also in the 21st century, in 2020, we have a different view on mental health than they did in like 2001. And like... It's so interesting how quickly things change. But my point in saying that is to say, the way people portrayed her as having a meltdown, having a breakdown, it's just so overdone. And I think her relationship to her fans, and she had a fan website where she released this like phone call, this recording directly to her fans. And like the press didn't get it. They immediately they're like, oh, she's having a mental breakdown. Like, and I think that's so interesting. I think she mentions kind of being ahead of the game. Well, she didn't name her fan base. The Lambily named ourselves. Or whoever was in the Lambily at the time named us Lambily. Because she and her friend would always call each other Lamb and da-da-da. Anyway, so the Lambily, she's always been ahead of the curve and communicating with her fans and being really keyed into her fans. And so people just misinterpreted that back in the day. And you know, should I give it more energy? Maybe I will. I might do a video on her and Britney and how people in the early 2000s discussed mental health, because it was trash. Let me tell you. This video is getting long. Most people have not watched this far. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the amazing Mariah Carey and her book. Go watch it. Go watch it. Go listen to it. Go buy it. Go read it. It's incredible. Don't wait for the biopic to come out, because I think Mariah won't let a biopic come out. I don't think she's going to pull a Madonna, because Madonna's making a biopic. I don't see Mariah doing that, because I don't see Mariah looking at any young actresses out there and being like, she can do what I do. Like, I don't see her. I just don't see her approving anyone. Honest to God. I love her, but I just don't see it. So, the book is so good. Bye!